Good afternoon and welcome back to the desk. It's Sunday, May. Who cares? It's Mother's Day. And that's the important part. Go ahead, call your moms before we get everything started. Call Pecky's. He's the mother here in the office. But we've got a doubleheader for Enemy coming up for you. It should be very exciting. I have been looking forward to this week, Hinduman. Not even kidding you, for since the beginning of the season.
Because week 6 is the big talking point of where people stand halfway mark is a good indicator of where they should end up at the end of the season. However, most of the teams have already played each other once, so you should have an understanding of what's going on. These two teams, well, as you know, last time they faced off, Enemy did take the 2-0.
2-0 for sure, and Enemy has been... They've been strong up until certain points, but Enemy, one thing that you cannot contest is the fact that they are the number one team. The only body that can contest that is Soar, since they're also tied for number one, and we'll actually see them go head-to-head against each other later on today. But this afternoon, we're going to start off with Envy. Envy is a team that has not had the success that Enemy has had. They're actually below 500, 6-8, only 6 wins and 8 losses to couple with that. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they've struggled a little bit just in general. So one of the moves that they've decided to make, not necessarily roster related, but role related, everyone's playing musical chairs.
Well, it's been constant like this the whole season for them. They've been constantly switching people in and out or switching roles. And once again, at the halfway mark, they announced they're going to be bringing Omega into the jungle, Cyclone to the solo lane, which puts Kiki into the hunter role.
And now this is something that I actually really enjoy. There's obviously, nobody's unfamiliar with CycloneSpin's performance over there in the solo lane, and Eonic has a storied history in support. MLC, I don't even need to touch. Now, Kiki, he's in that hunter role, but Omega, that's who I'm focusing on really for the positive side of this. Omega everybody knows the joke that Omega only plays Bellona, but that's because he wants to win, and Bellona does very well in the solo lane. Transitioning into the jungle, Omega's god pool is extremely wide. There's a lot of interesting things out there. Just as a fun fact, Habwa is one of Omega's favorite gods to play on her joust. So that just gives you an insight into what the player you don't see on the SPL stage. I'm very confident in his ability to go ahead and make shot calls, etc. But Hindu, how are you feeling about Kiki in that hunter role?
Kiki in hunter is going to be an interesting one because he's not played it that much. So he's really only had a week and a half to really practice this role. Now the difference is when you think about him in the mid lane, overall positioning was very, very good, very on point in a good situation there. And I expect him to play the hunter role similarly and play it very safe, especially going in against Enemy as his first game of the season, where PandaCat and PainDeViande, PandaCat very, very well known for his aggressive playstyle, which could punish Kiki if he misplayed. So the big point for Kiki, I guess, is does he think he's confident enough to 1v1 Panda, or will he play the safe role like Envy have done in the past with the hunter and move it forward?
Probably expect a little bit of passivity, especially in just this first game. But without further ado, let's get into the nonsense. Enemy versus Envy, starting right now.
Benji on his own, will they get the boot from the toggle here? A big time ultimate from Stealth Connects.
They've only gotten one so far. CycloneSpin finds a double. They're going to rush right in. Cyclone all the way to the back line. That's going to be a triple kill. He's going right for it. He's got the Quadra if he picks the right target. Quadra kill, looking for the big one, and it's going to be a penta.
Left side's going to be Enemy. They've got your order, and they've got your first pick, more importantly, the first ban. Envy on that right side. We mentioned the role swaps. A lot of times teams come into this picks and ban phase, and they say, all right, we know what you want to play. We know what you're comfortable with. Well, with these role swaps, that's a little bit different. The Sobek ban comes out.
Sobek ban does come out, and in response, Thor as well. Take that one away from Varizial. It's one of his big go-tos this season. I've had a lot of positivities with this god. He's played it offensively, defensively, frontline, backline, peeler, initiator, like everything. He just runs that god perfectly.
And that's the key for me. Varizial has proven to be one of the more versatile players in the entire league. Thor, definitely a god that fits that well. The Bakasura ban. Now, you and I were talking a little bit off camera with Anatoly about
Yeah,
this.
Totally was mentioned as well. Like, don't forget, Omega's got a great Bakasura. He played a lot in the previous seasons as well. In the jungle, we could see it work, especially if he looks for it. Maybe looking at camping the solo lane, camping for CycloneSpin. That would be a double assassin potentially combination there. Because the talking point for Omega is, when it's been the assassin meta in the solo lane, he wasn't the strongest solo laner. He was average. He was still amongst the best solo laners in the world, but he was still not like above and beyond. When we hit Warrior and Guardian meta, that's where Omega shined. At the moment, we're in the area where assassins can be played there,
There's
and that's
wiggle
why
room.
they brought Cyclone back, I believe, to the solo lane. He's going to be able to abuse that. When we've seen it with pentakills and Carly from the AD carry, we'll give him a Carly in the solo lane. Maybe.
So with that in mind, in the Bellona pickup, this isn't guaranteed to go over there in the solo lane to be in the hands of Cyclone. We may see it in the jungle. This is something that I expect coming out of Omega.
I too. I actually think that's going to be a jungle Bellona this game. We've seen it a little bit in Europe with Adapting pick it up
plays
as
it,
well,
yep.
and we've seen it elsewhere on top of that, but Frostiak also picked it up for Dignitas, so
Yep.
Bellona to the warrior role in the jungle seems to be coming back a little bit at the moment, and maybe we will see Omega do that.
Soul, not sure if that's going to Kiki, but we'll keep an eye on it. The signature Zeus for Khaos, and Guan Yu will be selected alongside
PainDeViande.
Xbalanque. You reckon that's Pain on
That's
Guan?
Pain. Pain's played that more often than not over in the support role. Last time these two teams faced off against each other, PainDeViande played it both games against Envy as well. Envy ended up looking at Kumbhakana and Odin as their supports for that one, but this time round they will get that Athena, which honestly PainDeViande chose Guan over the Athena.
Interesting selection coming out from Enemy. The Guan brings so much to the table when it comes to just healing and extending these team fights. So Enemy will be looking for that, which is curious because they've also selected it alongside the Zeus. So the Guan Yu will have to help just sort of protect Zeus and to a lesser extent Xbalanque.
Now this time round as well, Envy once again gone back to the Bellona, which we saw in solo lane for them in the last matchup these two played. Envy played it both games with Omega taking that one. However, this time round they also ban out Tyr to make sure they hit Marauder again. So Marauder's god pull this season has pretty much been Tyr, Amaterasu, Bellona, Vamana. So expect to see maybe one more solo lane ban, probably towards the Vamana I'd say, depending on what we're going to see Cyclone want to run against it. Will he rather like take the matchup where Amaterasu is very weak early game, take an assassin, try and snowball that? Or will they leave the Amaterasu and ban that one away? Instead, they're going to go for Robin. So they're looking for not a safe, easy, free win lane.
You think we're going to see Chalk?
I was going to say, that's, with Robin taken away, that's a sign that Envy are worried about potential of the pressure there. So maybe because he Marauder go with Chak, but Marauder's stuck to these four gods the whole season.
I mean, we've seen so much Chalk lately in the Pro League, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. EnVyUs has even tried it out. I'm personally, despite what I like in my casual games, I'm not a huge fan of competitive Chalk. There's the Vamana that you were talking about. That's really what I expected to go hand in hand. And then Ja Jungle. This god doesn't really combo with Zeus traditionally with that big burst, the one punch, but Zeus will work out along well. What goes up must come down, and now you're in a thunderstorm. So a nice combination Enemy has there with the jungle mid lane synergy.
Now let's talk about, we mentioned a lot as well regarding Kiki, over in the Hunter role. I expect him to go with something safe. Sol is one of those safer gods. Pretty good wave clear. Great disengage with the Disapparate if you get pressured early on and could try and just stay alive. I expected that or potentially a Neath for him would have been one of the best options to start the day out. And I think Sol's a pretty good one to go to for this game. And that's obviously, I expected that could have been a flex to begin with, but then they've gone with the Janus for stealth in mid.
Yeah, the Sol has incredible wave clear. Athena will just help peel that. Janus as well. Yeah, Envy. Will their role swaps pay off? We'll see in just a second.
Oh, but PandaCat with rotation. Desert's Fury on point.
Yo, PandaCat is on fire right now.
Purification forced by Homie Homie trying to make it work, but Khaos definitely making it work. Morrowind takes a spill. 4 kills in total for Enemy. Here comes
Actually going
Enemy.
to end.
They're going to skip the Phoenix. The surprise win from Enemy. Luminosity had no idea. Those moments happen so often with Enemy. The surprise wins, the turnarounds. I'm sitting here and I'm just getting excited. Like I said, this matchup, Enemy versus Envy, and then later on we'll see Enemy take on Soar. This has been a Sunday I've been waiting. This is not any given Sunday.
Well, you
This is it.
mentioned about Enemy and how things start at the beginning of the game every
They
single time.
start right
sorry,
now.
how their games go off in the end of like the surprise victories. Well, what Enemy are very good at, and this is mainly PainDeViande and Khaos, they're the most used to this right now, is taking games late.
Yep.
Getting behind, holding on, taking them late, and then putting a team in a situation where one fight could turn the whole game.
And with a Xbalanque and a Zeus, that's exactly what they're looking for.
And they got the Guan Yu for the early game to try and put some pressure on if they need to, sustain in the later stages as well. And Varizial looking to make plays on the Najah.
Yeah, Najah is this character that a lot of times Najah is the backwards bell curve, right? Where he's got a fantastic early game, that ring bounce, the slow and the sash stun, that can wind up into a quick first blood. solid.
Interesting to talk about the Varizial. We've not seen him really pick up Najal so far this season. I mean, he's gone Thor 6 times, bit of Baka, bit of Freya, bit of Alquang, bit of Thanatos, bit of Circuit. Basically, every assassin he's kind of run, but not the Najal. So seeing him come to this at this stage is interesting. Is whether he realizes the strength of Najal now, or he's had time to practice it a little bit more. Maybe it wasn't one of his solid god picks that he was relying on, or he just wanted to save it for a moment like this.
Well, all the small things coming out right there. Shouts to Blink-182. You saw that the attack chain, basically the 4th attack out of Najah is going to be AoE. It hits all of the targets in front of him. Knowing the timing for the minions, he's able to hit 1, 2, 3 in the air. So he starts off the camp with that 4th AoE hit. Like I said, very small, but you want to know if he can play Najah. There it is.
Well, I wanted to see how Omega performs on the Assassin in the jungle too, because I expected Bellona could have been a jungler here. We could have seen Assassin in the solo lane. It was the last pick locked in, was that Hombatz for Omega this game. And he was late to lane a little bit in the mid lane. Obviously, Bellona Hombatz a little bit of a less wave clear than a Nija Vamana at the camps taken, but they get split evenly for now, so Envy have got themselves in a good spot up against an enemy.
You know, this Hunbat's definitely surprised me. Did I expect to see something completely? Did I really expect to see the Habwa jungle? Absolutely not. But the Hunbats is a lot more traditional than I really expected out of Omega. I was preaching in the back room about the Herc jungle. I really think we're going to see Omega play it.
Maybe not right now, though. Left-hand side, a lot of pressure coming out there from enemy as well. They've pinning back Sol and the Athena with the Guan Xbalanque, which is a good sign of how good Throwing Dagger is right now on Xbalanque as well. Just allowing him to wave clear a little bit more effectively with Tallow Assault, which can help group up those minions by pushing the front line back into the back line. It helps them clear nice and quick, and keeping this pressure on to Kiki early, I think is a good choice.
Smart stuff out of Eonic, very basic, but definitely something you want to take note of. Tallow Assault, a channeled ability, and the taunt coming out of Athena going to make sure that stops. So as soon as Pain hits that 3 button, it's going to be stopped dead in its tracks by the taunt out of Eonic. And this does 2 things. One, it confirms that Envy is going to be a little bit less aggressive than they want to be.
Now, Eonic made a really good play there. The dash onto PandaCat there wasted the last of his money, really, with the Rising Jaguar. The wave clear is going to start to slow down a little bit from enemy now. Just relying on the Throwing Dagger and not the Bowler to be able to help increase the proc chance. So with the sustain that they've got left in Envy here with the mana and health that Kiki has advantage here, they should be okay to weather this storm now.
PainDeViande, smooth moves, able to wiggle his way through all of those basics, find the poke onto Kiki, and then the jungler is going to come over and Varizial will help confirm Borsteel on the left side of the map. Just very clean, small plays by enemy here.
It's just smart decisions at the start of the game. They got some pressure. They're about to lose it in lane, so let's take it in the jungle while we have the advantage. Varizial coming over means that if Envy tried to contest, it's a 2v3, and the Varizial had his ultimate available, would have been a death on either one of those 2 duo lanes.
And again, it looked like this is PainDeViande intentionally getting interrupted. He's using that Tallow Assault, saying, all right, either you let me clear the wave, or you use your taunt, and I don't clear the wave as easily, but now I know you can't engage on me and my friends. So that intelligence out of PainDeViande to force the taunt out of Eonic, or at least force Eonic to make a decision, is working out well in this lane where Xbalanque doesn't have the advantage.
Now to the solo lane, you can see Bellona Cyclone a little bit behind over Marauder early just because of the bully that seemed to come out a little bit earlier on from Marauder. Obviously, wave clear does factor in at the beginning of the game. In terms of getting to lane first was the big talking point. Marauder definitely made it there quicker than Cyclone, which allowed him to get some presence, but now Cyclone should be in a good spot. You can see he's got a bit of an level advantage now with clearing out these camps in the jungle.
You know, this is all things right in the universe. I want to see Cyclone in this solo lane. This is I like to see Cyclone here. It just seems to make sense. He's able to just play by himself, turn on his anime, doesn't have to pay attention to anything else, no distractions, just do what he does, farm, and then find the kills on the rotation.
But I expected to see him more on maybe something more aggressive, more assassination focus. I mean, Bellona is very, very good for a warrior to kind of fit that role to an extent, but not to the same degree as a Bakasura or you know, the likes of the assassins we start to see a little bit more, the aggressive 1v1 fighters in that solo lane.
With that in mind, Bellona is the more aggressive end of that front line, right? Tyr and Guan Yu being the more defensive, and Bellona winds up being more of that just, I'm going to be up front, and I'm just going to fight you about it. So I like this direction, and if anything, it's a nice ramp for CycloneSpin to get more back into that solo lane mentality. You're still aggressive, but you're leaning on that front line that the team really needs.
The way this game's been played by both teams right now is very respectable towards each other. There's not been much invasion coming out other than Varizial for the balls on left where there was a small advantage. This could come down to just one big team fight over probably around the Gold Fury mid-Harpy contest, or a gank in the solo lane that could just force a fight elsewhere.
With that in mind, though, Envy is playing enemy's game. enemy is a Xbalanque and a Zeus. They want to play this slow, methodical, let's go ahead and farm. Whereas Envy, that mid game's really what I'm looking at for Envy. Between the Soul, not so much in the mid game, but the Janus and the
Look at this goal though.
CycloneSpin.
Goal Fury started up early by enemy. They've got Zeus with them, and they've
Typical.
also got PandaCat with the ultimate that can reduce vision. That ultimate being popped
And
now
more-
by Zeus is an all-in.
Yeah, and more importantly, yes, they have all that stuff, but what you don't have is anyone in an Envy jersey anywhere near the situation. Whether it's lack of communication or lack of vision, as you see 0 red wards by that area, it all goes to enemy for free.
The most interesting thing is enemy didn't have a ward on that Gold Fury even. They
Nope.
did it knowing that they were blind. Both teams were blind there, but enemy just were like, let's give this a go and see if we get a response.
That's something they've been doing all season, Graham, and also even last season. Shouts to PainDeViande and his idea. Good look gank over for Envy on the left side, but they opt not to go on the Xbalanque.
Very surprised because obviously PandaCat just sat in lane there. Obviously Kiki should have called about where he was. I think Kiki being so low health on health and mana there was one of the reasons they didn't want to go for the gank, but I think they also expected PandaCat to all in potentially with that position and try and chase him down with the ultimate, maybe with the Rising Jaguar as well. And if he goes for that, which is a PandaCat playstyle, very aggressive.
That's a PandaCat
if he
play.
goes for that, then they could turn it back on him immediately. And PandaCat, very aware that his team wasn't with him, stayed back and didn't go for the kill.
Yeah, very curious that we didn't see that gank. Interesting. But nonetheless, enemy. Still, it's been a quiet game. No first blood, but we've already seen the Gold Fury fall. That's why enemy's a little bit ahead by about 1,000, 1.2. And everybody's just going to group up towards the mid. Khaos jumping for joy. He's pretty happy about that objective.
And we expected Kiki may struggle in this lane in this new Hunter role, and already he's down a little bit of gold over here. It's around 200. It's not too much to write home about, but level difference, we can see PandaCat is a little bit ahead in terms of experience right now. Right now, this moment in time, they're both level 9. However, Extra Wave was actually pushing for PandaCat there, so he's got an advantage over Kiki with this denial and the poke that he's been putting on him early. Expect to see Envy just look to rotate when there's an opportunity to try and pick Panda, but Panda himself and Kiki turn up for mid Harpies.
I like the Bancroft coming out from Khaos. It's just quick damage. It's less to do about the passive. If Zeus is going to lose HP, he's probably going to lose it all. It's less about the passive and just more about, hey, it's really quick damage. I can make it effective now. There's no stacking. There's no loss on death, etc. And it allows him to make these aggressive plays here with the team. There's the ultimate out of PandaCat, and that allows enemy to go ahead and get blue buff for free. Not even virtually, for absolute free.
And it costs them an ultimate across the map where it's not going to be impactful to them right now.
Exactly.
It does get them the blue buff, and they all disengage immediately. Enemy. They got what they came for, which was just a blue buff, put a little bit of pressure onto Cyclone, stop him with that little advantage he had on experience over Marauder as well that he developed early on.
And this is what I like out of enemy, and this is why I think they've been so successful, is that their shot calling, their objective calling is interesting, to say the least. They make calls that not many other teams make, and after the fact, they have no problem disengaging afterwards.
However, we may see a fight over this one now because it looks like Envy want to try and return the favor on the blue buff, but there's an engagement in the jungle now.
Up in the air goes Najai. She's going to land into the snow or the rain. It doesn't matter because Khaos still taking out Eonic. There's the bludgeon, and CycloneSpin will answer correctly, but 3 members surrounding 1. Janus shows up, and that might turn things.
Body
not
blocks!
allowed in the,
The body
portal!
blocks!
Not allowed in the portal! CycloneSpin can't find the door, but Omega shows up. Varizial ringbound takes out the solo laner, and a beautiful play by enemy to deny the portal gets them a second kill in the engagement.
On top of that, Cyclone at the end of that, Omega actually saved his life.
Yep.
He did save Cyclone's life with that Fear No Evil, but not realizing that Cyclone went for the bludgeon instead of going through the portal that Stealth had opened up for him. Very difficult to see in a situation like this. Like, I'm just going to deal as much damage as I can before I fall, but they traded out, and great work from enemy there, just to deny him getting through the portal. It's not an easy thing to do at all.
Yeah, not only does the invade fail, and we see Vamana pick up the blue buff as well, and Zeus combines with Najah to go ahead and completely just obliterate one player. The follow-up kill after the denial into the walk into the portal, Envy does pick up a kill, but obviously, I mean, just look at it. Half of the gold that enemy received for that engagement, Envy picked up only 585. So enemy wind up on that hand over foot, combined with the Gold Fury. 9 minutes in, Hinduman, they're already sitting up almost 2,500, 2.2.
Omega's spending a lot of time over in this solo area though right now, and you saw him to clear the wave out so Marauder couldn't push into the tower, I guess, but then also took the imps and shared the ball experience with Cyclone. So it allows Marauder to actually stay even keel with Cyclone, as well as Marauder, you know, winning in that engagement on top of that, it's really helped them out.
We're not seeing much of the aggression out of Omega that I honestly kind of expected. He's building into the breastplate of Valor instead of the Jotun's Wrath, so definitely more of that solo lane mentality of I'm going to be the initiator or I'm going to start the party.
It looks more like he's going to be a counter initiator for the team. When
Yes.
when the team initiates originally with Eonic, maybe with CycloneSpin, as we saw in that engagement, he'll turn up to the fight later on and look to clean up or help out his team with the secondary initiation of the Fear No Evil. Wait for those purifications to be wasted. Wait for the team to be all grouped up, stacking, looking for a kill.
And then once that Fear No Evil comes down, the team can respond and everything follows suit. So EnVy's got a good game plan going forward. I want to see it executed.
Talk about game plan. PandaCat gone for boots and now building a Transcendence as well. Transcendence is so good on Xbalanque, but this says to me that we're looking for a late game out of enemy here. If they're going to go for this style with a Transcendence coming out this late, it takes a little while to get online. It's great damage, however. It is fantastic, and it's something that you want on a Xbalanque, but you can't give up throwing dagger right now.
Nope.
And when you think about it, building Transcendence at the start of the game, you're going to lose lane pressure. Build it later on, well, you're going to get your stacks online if you're going to take it late.
And with Xbalanque, he's definitely a late game god. Blue buff still secured.
No, stolen by Marauder there. That was the big talking point. Marauder goes in, takes it away from Omega, who was trying to solo it down, and walks back into his own jungle. Marauder having a great game. This kid, since he's come into the SPL this season, he looked good in the Challenger Series and in the qualifications for relegations this year, but he didn't seem to work out very well against Baskin, who just had his number. But since then, he's turned up, and he's kept his god pool small, but stuck to them through and through, and helped find the wins with his team.
I have no problem with people that keep their god pool small. Underneath the tower, though, there's a lot of aggression. Eonic's going to show up as well. Damage dealt to Marauder because of the big stomp down from Athena. Walking around, here comes Varizial, answering back. Up in the air is the support. Marauder's waiting for the knockup at the bottom. Hits him with a burst. But the tower unable to find the kill on top of Eonic.
Not enough for a kill there. Marauder just bought time the whole time. Continuing to tank up the tower was EnVy. Cyclone got himself, well, to half health there, but they couldn't confirm anything because of the big baby, and now Cyclone's in trouble.
Wonderful play coming out of PainDeViande. Instantly on and off the horse to interrupt the bludgeon, trying to find the kill. Forces out not only the ultimate, but also the player out of lane. Look at that teleport. It's down, so CycloneSpin will miss a wave at the very least.
And you saw what Cyclone did there as well. He tried to ult immediately, but PainDeViande caught him off guard with a different timing of dismounting from the Guan cavalry charge, and it just allowed Cyclone to be pinned for a little bit more poke. Wasn't as good as it wanted to be, because Cyclone looked like he was ulting in place as well to begin with, to deal damage back.
Yeah, so just a smart play coming out from the guys on enemy. Doesn't result in a kill, but it does force out the opposition. CycloneSpin already back to lane, so not too much of a big deal.
Yeah, and I mean, not too worried about this position right now. They've got a ward just to the left-hand side there where Khaos is stood, just near the Gold Fury pit, so they can see when they group up enemy looking for that Gold Fury. And EnVy, well aware of what was going on. The Gold Fury wasn't pulled. You could tell by the positioning of the team that they were looking for a pick, so they hang back and wait for teammates.
EnVy playing it very cautious here. They're down a little bit, but certainly not out of it. And they've got to find the next engagement that they're looking for. With this Batz, that could be a number of engagements that Fear No Evil is so very powerful, specifically against the counter initiation, like you said.
Talking about Batz though, Omega gone for the Breastplate of Valor as his first major item before looking to potentially Jotuns here as well. Looking for the extra cooldown reduction as usual, but get some penetration and damage online. But this tells me that Omega may be an initiator. He may be switching up a little bit to become an initiator for the team. If he's going to take Breastplate of Valor, he's looking to be tanky, he's looking to be frontline, and maybe stay in the engagement and surprise the enemy by how long he survives.
And I like this play a lot, Hindu. We see a lot of just damage built for Batz, usually third item after cooldown reduction. But maxing cooldown reduction, honestly, Batz's best play is his Fear No Evil. Maxing your CDR right away is a fantastic take on this character, and by going the breastplate before the Jotuns, he's ensuring that the early game that Batz suffers from, because the damage in there for the crits, is a little bit more interesting.
This is what I expected could be seen coming out from them here. Ganks over and over again onto Kiki as the game goes on. If they can find some pressure for PandaCat to pick up some kills for his passive as well, it will help them out. But Kiki is on a difficult god to try and gank.
PainDeViande gets caught out just a little bit, but he's able to find some safety beneath the Gold Fury and a quick dash, and just the threat of Khaos sends EnVy packing.
Varizial still here. They got the purification on the first gank. They're going to go in again. Ring toss will connect to slow him a little bit and allow Varizial to close the gap, but Disapparate comes out again. But they did get Eonic's ultimate and stealths.
Yeah, big rotation coming out from EnVy. Looking for something. EnVy want to make this Janus ultimate worth it, but it's just not the case.
PandaCat was really smart there, popping that sprint for the team to get them all away from that engagement. Janus ult comes straight across the map. They know there's Omega coming as well with that Fear No Evil potentially. So what do? Pop sprint, just disengage, keep the pressure going if they can. They're still looking for that pick on Kiki, though. They really want to kill him.
Yeah, Kiki on the Soul, again, he's playing exactly the way we expected him to, even building into that Book of Thoth for that late game damage, and that's really, I mean, this is ideal for what I want to see out of Kiki. Soul really like hits her stride come the mid game and the late game with the Polynomicon, so I'm very interested to see what
this
happens.
call was good because they realized that Stealth had gone to the right-hand side to clear out some camps there, so they tried to look at forcing the Gulf here. They knew the ult was down from Stealth too, so the rotation would be a little bit delayed, but Kiki's presence here has slowed them just ever so slightly. He's going to be very difficult to still pick with that Sanctuary available to him and Disapparate, so they just give it up when they realize it's taking too long.
Varizial has his ultimate online, so expect that to come out. Expect right here, the gank onto Kiki, looking for
And every time,
yeah.
Disapparate straight away. Every time. That's all Kiki's going to do the whole game.
And look at the result, though. Look at the result. You see the gold and the experience between these two hunters, Hindu. I mean, this is almost 1,000 gold in favor of enemy's hunter, and about a half a level as well. And that's not a mistake. Varizial's looking here for the kill, and when he can't find it, they freeze the wave and they just deny 3 to 4 creeps to that soul. However, every single time.
Varizial spending so much time in this lane, sharing the experience with PandaCat is giving him some golden experience. But keep an eye on what Omega's doing. Omega's keeping pace in terms of golden experience here at the same time as he's not picked up any kills or assists in this game.
Which is totally fine. There's an introduction to a team fight. Taunt forward from Eonic.
Teleport as well.
Find a way out.
Oh, Marauder and Cyclone both turn up with teleports here, but the fight looks like it was going to wash. Now we're going to have a situation where all 5 members on this left-hand side.
Cyclone wants to force the fight. Always want to make that teleport worth something, but not going to actually have anything come of it. Eonic taunts Varizial in the mid lane, and with the follow-up, dashes away and avoids the Fear No Evil. Quick play, anticipating the ultimate coming out from Omega from Varizial.
This is a very awkward fight from both the teams because no one's really coming out on top of this one right now. Kiki disapparating early. PainDeViande chasing him with cavalry charge. Should be able to find a stun afterwards. Actually hits 3 members of that as well.
Varizial follows up. 1 kill for him. Marauder looking for Kiki in the back. Immediately changes targets, looking towards MLC Stealth. Forces the portal. Cyclone by himself says no Khaos as he hits the Sanctuary. Varizial doesn't have one though, so he'll go ahead and fall, and that'll be a dead CycloneSpin as well. 2 dead on the side of Envy, 1 dead on the side of enemy, and that'll be a gold.
And Cyclone used his ultimate there just to secure the kill on Varizial to make it a 1-for-1, but in the end, by doing that, he traded jungler for jungler, yeah, but traded his own life too. And now there's going to be no response coming out from Envy on defense of this Gold Fury. Enemy come out of that fight with the win at the end of it. And to be fair, it was both teams trying to make use of the fact that teleports were both used from solos. Like, they're both here. We should try and force something. And so they both took it in turns to try and do that.
Yeah, I mean, that was Marauder and CycloneSpin going, guys, I spent the teleport. We're going to do this.
We have to.
That was a forced fight. That's why it looked so awkward, 4K in the lead for Envy after that last engagement. And so what happened was, I mean, you saw Omega come in and drop the Fear No Evil. Wasn't a fight yet. And you saw it avoided. Varizial used his ult. Wasn't a fight yet.
And actually, there was a little play by Varizial actually in the mid lane where Stealth goes through with the portal to actually try and stay safe instead of actually sticking with Eonic, who Eonic got a great taunt off into Varizial, who was in an awkward position and could have been less than half health after already healing. They could have actually looked to pick Varizial a little bit earlier than that, and in the end, well, Varizial lived, and it allowed him to pick up a kill on Cyclone, who had to clean him up at the end.
Yeah, Khaos started that party. Everybody's ults were already down. There was attempts at poking and picking, and Khaos really drops the ultimate and finds the fight. And now there's an ultimate out of PandaCat, and that'll allow the separation to take enemy off of the mid lane tower.
That was mainly for the mid lane tower defense as well, because obviously whenever you lose the Gold Fury, you want to try and answer back with an objective yourself, and the tier 1 towers in the mid lane are normally the one to go for, because most of teams will fall back to base after picking up that Gold Fury. And good defense overall. Once again, it's just the Xbalanque ult that was used there. It's not a bad thing to use when he's just going to go over to the solo lane, dual lane, just continue farming away against Kiki, who's not going to be looking for a fight.
No, I absolutely love Xbalanque's ultimate for that reason, in the sense that if you use it almost willy-nilly, if you use it on a whim very quickly, a lot of times you don't have to change the way you play because of lack of that ultimate, right? It's not like an Apollo ultimate where all of a sudden I can't push up without my ult.
But the enemy, they have to change the way they think. As soon as that ultimate's popped, you're lacking vision. You make sure you have to stand still, so it's going to slow down your mobility a little bit. And if you're awkwardly out of position, you don't realize it until the gank comes through, you could die too.
Exactly. So PandaCat using that ultimate both offensively and defensively so far.
And he's got the Transcendence online, Assy as well, so he's got some sustain on himself and working on Chins, and Stealth is in trouble in mid.
Sanctuary immediately popped to save the life of the mid laner initially, but Khaos hits the horn after the fact, after the portal, and from a distance clears it down. 5-2 are the kills so far. Looks like EnVy wants to continue the game plan, but a big chain lightning toss out by Khaos.
Khaos was so smart, holding the detonate until the pole. He goes to the pole, and no one else in his team can do any damage.
Yep.
If he can get the kill after the detonate, perfect. If not, at least it's a little bit more poke, and you hope for the kill. That fight, though, was very, very good from EnVy because they disengaged and then re-engage again.
Kiki was pinged down in the jungle, and Pain going to take advantage of it. That play to Valor doesn't stop the damage as you shred through the protections, and Pain winds up with a kill on that one.
Not just that, they may get a tier 2 tower out of this as well. PainDeViande is tanking up the front line. Good Eagles rally coming out, but the tower stops hitting because it's dead.
CycloneSpin stunned out in the thunderstorm, and Marauder puts the seal on top of CycloneSpin. 5 members alive for enemy and only 3 for EnVy. Sanctuary pot by Kiki. There's MLC. Khaos takes out Eonic. It's a push onto a Phoenix this early. They're going to take the victory in the team fight and walk away.
Tier 1 tower mid lane is available. Red buff in the jungle too. Strip the jungle on the way back. Let's not overdo things. We just got 2,000 global gold for our team as well as kills.
And again, enemy, what I said before, they have no problem taking the objective and just walking away. Very rarely, this team makes mistakes, they're not infallible, but very rarely do their mistakes result from staying in a spot too long.
It's the combination of shot calling being very, very strong from the team, as well as the team actually all listening to the shot caller.
That's the key.
If they don't listen to the shot caller, then things will go wrong. If you stay a little bit too long, staying a little bit too deep, you drop the kill, you potentially lose an objective that was also free.
I mean, that's the key for me with this team specifically is the discipline, Hindu. Just the ability for them to completely all in, trust and respect whatever the call is. 5 people following the incorrect call will be more successful than 3 people following one person following their gut, and a 3rd person just alt-tabbing and looking at something else. That is just not the way team play works, and at this high level of gameplay, all 5 players need to work on the same page.
So we took 2 gold furies in a row, but then we had that big engagement there. Let's go to the graphs because you'll see that because of the objectives of the towers as well, the gold has spiked once more from just the gold furies to 8,200 now, which is extremely significant.
Varizial going to go ahead and back in lane, try to get CycloneSpin to be a little bit aggressive. He knows that his teammates are coming out in the jungle. CycloneSpin does not take the bait, as his teammates have communicated the fact that there's a Guan and a Zeus coming your way. Don't aggress. And all 3 members of EnVy make sure that that's the case.
And it's down to the Fire Giant now, realistically, for where the next power play is going to be. Omega still looking for potential damage onto Pain, but definitely going to jump away from there. And now, with the Gold Fury being available, I expect to see PandaCat look to solo this at an opportunity. The rest of the team should all be on the right-hand side. You won't see the same thing from Kiki on a mage. He can't look to solo without lifesteal, and it's already began.
Varizial's in the area just in case. He's able to not only just deal damage to the opposition, but also zone in the best way possible by literally taking somebody out of the game. You put them, you remove them from the game, you almost exile them, if you will, right?
Exactly. And you can't be sure if, from EnVy's point of view, if they were doing the Gold Fury then, because there was Marauder and PainDeViande hanging around the mid lane too. Yep. So you can't be sure, as well as no objectives for them to defend from tower-wise. No tier 1 tower mid. No tier 1 or tier 2 tower left. How do you even get to the Gold Fury to look?
I mean, it's just too rough. EnVy doesn't actually get there. Purification popped on the jungler, so Batz won't have that available to him just by way of Varizial showing his face. MLC sees the assassin in the wings. Varizial trying to make the flank, coming on as the rest of EnVy and try to defend against 4 members of EnVy barking up the front door. There's the ultimate from the Xbalanque, and the party will start. Varizial trying to find his target. No purification. He knows that. Up in the sky goes Omega. 1, 2, 3, down for the count. Can't find the last hit, but Varizial has done the distracting, and the tower falls down.
And now the charge comes on from PainDeViande, hitting 2 with the dismount. Cyclone in trouble on the front line, being focused as Marauder zones out the back line from getting involved as well. Khaos gets credit for the kill, and enemy march on.
Looking for more kills. If enemy find another kill here, they'll go for the Phoenix. There's Omega with the blink forward in the initiation. Purification from Khaos. They tried to take out the Zeus, and it just wasn't the plan. Khaos winds up on top of that. Varizial's the only one dead for enemy, and this allows PandaCat to just focus on the Firebird.
Desperate play coming out there as well from Omega. He jumps in, blinks in with that, ults the whole team, which is great, but where's the follow-up? It's only Stealth with through space and time, and Stealth at the moment, you can see where he is in terms of build at the moment. He's not that big and strong. He's only level 17 as well. It's not enough for them, so they're going to lose 2 Phoenixes off this now, and the back of EnVy has been broken in game 1.
24 on the clock. Enemy are up by 8 kills. It's 11-3, and the gold tells such a scary tale as well. 13,500 gold. Enemy has been looking successful since the beginning of this match, Hindu, and it doesn't look like they're going to falter anytime soon.
But if we go all the way back to that tier 2 tower in mid lane and that whole fight that happened, Varizial's around the back, he takes out Omega, which is important. But when the PandaCat uses his ultimate, the team of PainDeViande and Marauder head to Kiki, get the Disapparate, get him to use his relics as well because he's under pressure. He has been forced back, which is a lot of the magical damage on that team out of it, and they've only got to deal with stealth then, which is a single 2-shot.
Right.
Or a portal.
Yeah, it's and what I liked a lot about a Varizial there is honestly one player just separated the entire team. Varizial took Omega to the sky, and you know, that punishment that everybody always talks about. Oh, well, Najah, when he lands, you can just punish him. If you're going to punish him, you have to pay attention to him. So enemy, they're coming up onto that mid-tier tower, and they're taking the team fight, but 3 people are just sitting around having a tea party waiting for Varizial to land.
Exactly, hitting the tier 2 tower. At the same time, you've got Kiki who's had to reposition, so you're watching him to make sure he's safe at the same time, which means you're not looking at what's going on to your objectives. Talking about that, Fire Giant falls 2, and enemy looking for the final Phoenix after these two towers.
Yeah, Envy doing exactly what the only thing they really can do, pushing up these fire waves to make sure that the next time enemy come into and fight, the fire minions won't be able to be a part of that and start taking down the Titan as well. So enemy now, Fire Giant on their belts, looking for more. This is the last tower of the game with an Envy tag on it, and it very quickly gets chewed through. PandaCat doing a lot of damage, not only with the Transcendence, but the Titan's Bane as well.
Last stand for Envy is definitely this Phoenix here. The minions are pushed out just enough in the other 2 lanes that they can hold for now, but they will have to engage and force something. Enemy would be quite happy to wait if they want to for the fire minions to go in, unless they're feeling confident, which they are.
There's the ultimate out of PandaCat. That means go. One person gets stunned actually in the backside, but it won't be that big a deal. Up on the horse's Pain. Triple stun, and Pain already gets one. Varizial finds another. Khaos gets one. It's a sharing buffet right now for enemy. One more kill. This one's going to go the way of Pain. Everyone has gotten the kill except for Marauder. Where's the Vamana? Doesn't matter. PandaCat picks up his second of the engagement. 16 kills in total, and enemy will end this one at 26 minutes.
And that was just really good play from enemy as a whole. PandaCat pops his ultimate, takes out the Phoenix. The rest of the team do what they want. He even purifies the Fear No Evil just to make sure he secures that Phoenix. And then the team from there, well, it's just fight, fight, fight. We're 10,000 gold plus ahead. This item has power us through for the win.
Extremely well played by enemy. No real surprise there. That's what we've come to expect out of this squad.
We have, and this is the first time this season I'm not really going to sleep on them. I've been going splits a lot of the time. I went enemy 2-0 here, and I can see that this could probably go that way unless something changes with Envy this game.
Yeah, I think Envy has a lot of potential. One of the biggest things that I think Envy have in their corner is the fact that they're veterans, the fact that they've been playing Smite for so long, and the biggest thing about Smite, specifically on the competitive level that's different than others, is the adjustment factor. You look at what went wrong in game number 1, maybe Omega needed to be able to do a little bit more damage. Maybe he moves away from the teamfight-oriented god into a more assassin-type god. That's might be something on the mind.
You mentioned about that, but I mentioned the Hunter as well as the big difference. Sol was picked that game as in the Hunter role, but it wasn't really a sort of Hunter build, an in-hand build that came out. We saw a very mage build coming out from Kiki that game. Book of Thoth into Rod of Tahuti, so he's just looking for the damage from Stellar Burst and the Supernova, not the in-hands that we've seen from most of the Hunter players that are natural in that role. Will look for the in-hand damage using Demonic Grip or the likes to increase that.
We'll see. It's so